life sucks.
Let me be a douchebag real quick and look at my phone then, because I know
I'm leaving.
Great segue. Great segue.
I know you guys do fan questions on your show and stuff. We actually gathered a few from the Beach Squad Facebook page.
Oh, buddy.
So there's a few on there that there was a couple that are like extremely basic questions, and I'm like, I'm not asking those where you guys have answered them 300 times already.
How'd you guys meet?
Right. This one's good though. This one's actually local from Murphy. He said, "What prompted you guys to change the name from Illiteracy to the Palmer Squares?" That's a throwback.
It was gay.
Yeah, it's gay mostly, and no,
One
we had
is way gayer than the other.
Illiteracy was.
There's also other people, right?
Yeah, there were definitely a couple other groups that went by that with maybe a little different spelling or a space in the words or whatever. But there was a group at the time, at least I remember, that like had merchandise and they had hoodies that said. But either way, we were still that.
More than we could have said about ourselves.
I don't think we've ever had hoodies. Still, Palmer Squares.
You guys had hoodies.
Wow.
Tie-dye. Come on, man.
Wowee.
Yeah, I guess. It's just not something we ever have on a merch table. You know, we get asked at live shows. You got sweaters? Nope, never.
Right.
No hats. No. Yeah, we don't want money.
Right. We got sweaters.
But like,
That's right. New merch.
it was also. That's what we called ourselves before we like moved out of our mom's house and lived together to go to college downtown. That was our second identity after Ordinary Dogs, which was just a ripoff of Typical Cats. So then it was Illiteracy,
Still way better.
which is like, oh, like our literacy is ill. We're from Illinois. This is us. It defines us.
I didn't put the Illinois together, but
Yeah, nobody would. It's fucking moot point. Only an asshole like me would point that out. But we moved to a block off of an area in Logan Square, Chicago called Palmer Square Park.
Right.
And I would walk through that park every day to get to that train I was just talking about where I'd listen to my Billboard podcast.
full circle.
Yes. And so Palmer Square. And then it's like, squares, like losers.
Right.
We always played into like the
Right.
yeah, we're not out here click clack and the gat like doop doop doop. Like that's not what our music sounds like.
Right.
God, I wish it was.
Yeah. We'd be so much more famous. But like it was just something that felt like, oh, this is like hip hop 101, like rep the block where we're from.
Yep.
So we lived there for 8 years and built our whole identity. And then the Palmer Squares is like we live here, or at least we did for a long time.
Right.
And it gives us that like that angle from the jump. We can lean into the fact that you might look at us and not think we're going to be any good at rapping. That's in fact what you'd probably think the opposite. So playing into we're kind of nerdy squares will catch you off guard with what we are good at. I think it allows us to, I don't know, lean into that silly shit a little harder too.
And something people don't think about too is like you got to be kind of like Googleable,
Right.
Like, because like I listen to another artist, his name's just X.
Yeah.
And to find him anywhere, you have to look up It's X Music, all in one. And I'm like, because you can't just search X. Like, it's not possible.
Yeah. There's like, real quick, too, we were just on tour with Jarv, obviously, and he was talking about, he kind of wants to start a podcast with his buddy. And he's like, title. It's like, I don't know what to really call it. I'm not sure. So we're like spitballing. We're goofing, like everything that comes up. We would just call it like the blah, blah, blah podcast. Anything that would come up. And then like after a couple days go by, I remember he said something referring to his cock. Like, I got a beautiful unit. And I was like, dude, the Beautiful Unit podcast sounds like a good title.
That's great.
You know? And now we're just spitballing. But once it's like, it is kind of hard to come up with titles.
I got you.
And like we didn't have rap names for fucking years. It was just like Seth and Maddie B.
Right.
Like into Palmer Squares. I think our first year of Palmer Squares, like I didn't have a fucking real rap name probably, but that's something I do enjoy too. Like I love titling a song.
Right.
I love like finding the label for it, like because you can call it anything. It's like I hope I don't ever have a kid because I'll fucking call it Planet of the Shapes. I'll call it Kazam-demic Jr.
You'll be one of those parents.
Well, that's I kind of relate to that too because like I try to pull good names for our episodes, and it's usually
me too. Yeah,
it's usually like the stuff that's like subtle, but talking about like jerking off, but you would never know it.
Right, or something that comes up a lot
until you listen to it.
If you say it, if it comes up, or like everybody says it one time, like in our last episode with Jarv, there was like a gold finger, then a bad finger reference, and like I got the ring finger, the middle finger, the bad finger.
Right.
And then started talking about like later on we're talking about sex stuff and like fingers in the butt, and like the bad finger goes up there, and then like everybody gets there like, all right, this is like an obvious.
There's a theme, at that point.
So I'd like to do something that kind of like seems like the most fitting.
Right.
There's also something to like. Just 1, 2, or 3 words. That's good too.
Right.
Drawing out a long thing like It's got to be like a nice little 2-word title.
Yeah, I watch like a lot of the ESPN like MMA interviews, and they have like a full sentence as the name of like the interview, and I'm like, don't do that. Like that's just weird. This next one is from Skylar Anderson. And I like this one a lot.
Skylar and her son? Wow. Okay, go ahead.
Which is a weird for this. Do you have a best or worst post-nut clarity moment? Because that's real. That is very real. We've talked about it before. Mm-hmm. If you're about to make a bad decision, rub one out. See if you still want to make that decision.
Right. So when you say, okay, because I was going to say, like, is this like hooking up and then like instantly regretting the hookup?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. Either way.
You know what's funny? Because my first thing that comes to mind, it was like more of a masturbation thing, or like even like jerking off on a toilet, onto a toilet.
Oh,
I upper deckered a toilet with my jizz on this tour. But no, like sometimes there's like a maintenance jerk on the road, literally like a fucking hotel toilet or something real quick.
Got to get it
out. And sometimes it's just like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like, like I am sitting backwards on a toilet right now, like real quick. I just got to get this out of me, so I don't like have blue balls or so. I can't go all fucking week without getting one off.
I'm at a gas station. There's somebody knocking.
On the entrance door. I'm standing in front of a glass door at a gas station.
You can hear a kid asking their mom to buy them candy out there.
So yeah, there's moments like that sometimes where I'm just like on the road. It's like, do I have to do this right now?
Yes.
No.
The answer is yes.
I don't, but I'm gonna. Oh yes, I will.
Is there a little thrill in that? Doing that in the
no,
no.
Like
that's it's like the opposite.
It's maintenance.
I call it a maintenance jerk.
Okay.
Like I'll do that, like a maintenance piss, where it's like I just got to get like
clinical.
half of it.
Right.
It's
male masturbation is clinical.
Yep.
There's a matter. There's a substance
in
us that needs to come out.
Yep.
Or else it'll hurt,
go crazy,
or it'll make us nuts.
Yep.
I like it.
So there's that, but that's also like, I don't know.
Girls can just go pee.
Yeah, I haven't had. We actually.
What?
Isn't that what comes out when they squirt anyway?
Yeah. Well, that's different.
I'm pretty sure it's mostly pee.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
It's nasty.
But also, like, I'm trying to think. Like,
women need to orgasm too, but men, it's like
it's like
more
a golden
clinical.
shower, just worded different.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Female version.
Yeah.
But like, as far as a non-masturbatory situation, we were just talking on tour. I think about every girl that I had dated or hooked up with. Like, to me, you see the shirt, it says ugly.
Right.
I feel like I did pretty good for myself. I was just sort of batting out of my league for the most part.
Right.
I didn't have a lot of like, wow, that was a fucking low point for me.
Right.
Like
I've slummed it.
Yeah, there've been, I don't know, I remember fucking so many years ago, I think we were in Canada like the first time or something, I don't know. This is like 2013, 2014 maybe, and like you hooked up with a girl who was like the hot girl.
It was the worst. I came in 25 seconds.
I remember like a girl kind of just
half hard.
Oh, Jesus.
Some girl sacked up to like make a move on me, and I was not interested in her.
Right.
But it's like, well, I'm drunk and she's making out with me, and she does have a bed.
Hey.
And I don't have one tonight.
Score.
Hey,
right. So I remember like that was kind of like didn't really have to go through with all of that, but YOLO. But still, it wasn't like an immediate like
myself.
Yeah, like I gotta stop drinking. It wasn't like some big fucking moment. So I don't know. I wish I
had
had a better
girl-
answer. I guess
We had a girl come through, like mega fan, and a bit of a mess. And she blew me, and like while blowing me, like was saying she wanted to fuck, and I don't know what reason I gave, but whatever it was a good idea. I was like, no,
I don't wanna.
Right.
I don't have condoms or whatever. And yeah, that was a great like once I nutted of like, I'm so glad I didn't put it in her.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
She's crazy.
How long have we been recording?
You're just over an hour.
Okay, cool. So I know Term wants to watch these last two fights.
I paused
Sure,
it.
we got
Yeah,
time.
we got a couple more.
It's all good. It's paused.
Let me see. This one's kind of like a common question, but I'm kind of curious too. What's your guys' favorite project together? Whether it be like the outcome of the project, while you were making it, something like that. What would you think?
I could probably find a reason for each project to say like why it's special or why it was different and we enjoyed that. But God damn, everybody's calling me. Now I would probably say With or Without It, which is like our newest or most recent full album. Mostly because of like the behind the scenes turning point in our career.
Yeah.
Like we started the first half of that project under the old system, with our Stank Face label, and as
right.
Term mentioned, a shithead manager.
Yep.
And then all of that fell apart. It was just like it was like a big business collapse kind of, and we started completely from scratch. Like where we recorded our music, we couldn't record there anymore, and like we needed to like change everything about how we worked, and just kind of like start over. We started our own business. We had to make a new business checking account. We had to like the cover of that album is us with all of our shit in the fucking street, moving from the old to the new. I
was wondering if that was like a setup picture. Like it looked legitimate. Like
so that like
it's real.
It's very meaningful to me for us to like finally, after so many projects and so many years, finally like back to the tour manager thing. It's like we're cutting all the fat and we're gonna figure out how to like do this shit ourselves. And I got to shout out Drew Mantia too, because we went and visited him in St. Louis. He still mixes stuff for us. And before we could set up all of that shit that was unplugged and uncoordinated on the street, we went and recorded his place for a while, and then we got back on our feet with the home studio, and then did like a mix between recording, and then and now I feel like we're in a decent spot where we can record with nobody else involved, but and no location. It's like we can do it at my place with our equipment and send it to our dude, our fucking engineer for the last 10 years. And there used to just be so many other moving parts going on that were they were wrenches in the gears. They weren't moving it faster. So after we shot that picture on there, we still had half the songs to make. We still had to make Bad Animals. We still had to make Bringing the 90s Back. We still had Worthless and so it was like less than half done.
Lucky Quarter.
We had this like anchor, or that's not what I wanted to say, just like a riff, something like fucked it all up in the middle, and there was like an uncertainty of like, should we even finish this? What were we even doing? How many songs were supposed to be on this project? Like we only had 4 done, and I don't even know if we can record a song for the rest of the fucking year. But we got past that shit, and just getting over this massive like challenge, I think makes that. And I think it's some of our best music. I do. I think some of our best stuff is on that project. Not to say there isn't some of our best stuff on other projects. But all that like behind the scenes, fans might not know how personal some of that shit was. For me, I think that's my answer.
Achievement of growth in it. I think on the flip side of that coin, I would also say like Spooky Language could have been one of my favorite things to ever do, because of the total opposite. We had never recorded a project before. It was a totally new experience to be in a studio. We didn't record it in a music studio. I feel like that's the only project that we ever. It was recorded in 2 sessions, and we went to both of those sessions with every song like mapped out, and we knew like how it was supposed to be and how it was. Everything else we've kind of like taken a couple months on at least. Recording shit and re-recording shit and coming up with, let's change the hook on this or something. Spooky Language is kind of like how albums used to be made, where it was like, we got this studio space for 2 days. We know all the songs that we're going to record, and we just go in for 2 days and bang it out. And there was this young fucking, like, we were kids, and it was a really fun opportunity at that point.
Right.
And then real quick, too, before WowWee, Planet of the Shapes would have been my answer probably, but it's because of, like, that album took, like, at least 2.5 years to make, close to 3 years. But that's because at the time, we were still, this is before we, like, had the means to do this full time. Right. So I was working full time, again, trained to the job, 9 to 5, and then I'm away. So there were at least one night a week for years, pretty much, sometimes more than one night. It would just be like... I'd get up, I'd take an hour to work, and then I'd work 8 hours, and then I would have to take 3 trains. I would have to, like, traverse the city from, like, the South Loop all the way up back to the north side, from the fucking blue line to the red line to the brown line, and then spend 6 or more hours recording. And then so there was, like, just how much the fucking candle got burned at both ends for us to, like, I don't know, I just felt like we busted ass on that one. Like, we put a lot of time and a lot of work into that.
We did a lot of experimenting, I think, on that album, too. And we had a lot of fun.
But, like, a lot of the stuff, getting that work done, I would be 10 hours into my day already. Like, working. Like, I would have to, and then that's when I would start. I'm fucking tired.
Right.
You know? So, but, like, getting it done on that level, it's like, it's not ideal. It's not how we record now much better.
Right.
But we worked pretty hard for a long time to make that project come together, and I am happy with that one too. I would have said that's probably my favorite project before we made With or Without It, which I think just, I don't know, is also good.
I kind of had that question too. Like, I know you guys, I don't know if it was a couple years ago, maybe it was right before the pandemic, I don't remember, but you guys did the No More Jobs tour where you guys like quit your jobs and just went on tour and shit. Has that been consistent? Like, you haven't had to have day jobs and shit, just living off Patreon and shows? It's definitely not
glamorous. Like,
well, right.
The No More Jobs tour, like, it's like, good for them.
Right.
They did it. Long story short, somebody, and we're involved too. We take the blame for this. But that whole tour, it buried us in debt.
Damn.
We left that tour with a lot of unnecessary debt. And there was already unnecessary debt in our operation going into it. And there was just like... the word budget should have came up a lot more.
Right.
Right. So no, it was
back to like why you have tour managers.
Yes.
It's supposed to be to not come off the tour.
Yes.
$15,000 in debt, but
yeah. I actually did want to get back to that maybe after. Like there is a necessity for a tour manager.
Right.
Like for our 8 nights with Jarv and stuff, not necessarily.
Right.
But yeah, when it comes to like them, they're the ones who would deal with the promoters or like get the info. They can give you the schedule. Like, good tour managers will give you like a fucking breakdown of tomorrow. Here's what the weather looks like. Here's how many hours on the road. So we have to leave this early if we want to stop for lunch. And then you get to the venue and the chips and the salsa and the fucking veggie tray and the beers and the water are already in the fridge. And then there's like here's the Wi-Fi password.
Yeah.
You don't have to like get all that shit together yourself. Hand them the money. They'll hand it to me later. Like, you get to really like focus on your
cool.
But you don't
take care of the
necessarily
details
at our level. You don't need it all the
Okay.
time. You know,
on a big tour, they take care of details that the headliner can just like worry about.
Be the artist,
preparing for the show.
I was
that
gonna say,
night.
'cause that would be a lot of headache on top of preparing for that performance. And
I'm
things
assuming
like that.
they probably
that's
like
definitely gotta.
if you guys are flying, they probably book the
They
flights and all that.
Yeah,
or
booking hotels and stuff. They would
yeah.
do a lot of times. But yeah, it's like doing all of that like work.
Right.
The actual work where we'll do it. We'll drive. We'll book the hotel.
The
we'll talk to the promoter. We'll get the money. You know,
the quote unquote like admin work of that kind of
selling
stuff.
merch too. A tour man, or just sometimes you bring a person just for merch.
Right.
But like standing at our table, like we can't just leave our shit out on the table and attend it all night. But if we have somebody selling it for us, and then we just make our cool little FaceTime appearance and send some shit. I'll be back in 20 minutes. Like, it's cool to like have the time to go rest when we're like I just said when we walked in. I'm tired.
Right.
Tired on the road for 8 days or however, you know, some people on the road for 18, 80.
Right.
It's like, it's fucking a long time.
Well,
I was going to get back to, I already forgot where that was going, but
the tour manager stuff. But I know the only reason I kind of want to cut this off, I know our camera overheats sometimes.
Oh,
so
for sure. Let's wrap it up.
I'm hoping that doesn't happen. But this one's from Caitlin Hughes. This is for Matt specifically. I don't know if you know her or not, if this is a random person, but she said, "Marry me." So
I don't think I can do that.
Yeah, I don't think.
There's already somebody special out there who's definitely waiting for that to happen. So I'm going to have to prioritize the love of my life. Sorry, Caitlin.
Oh, there you go.
But when her and I get divorced, hit me up.
Hey, there you go. There you go. And then this will be the last one. This is from Jake Wathog, actually. My dude, he lives in New York now. But has there ever been a moment where you individually or together thought about no longer pursuing music? Because I'm sure it's obviously super tough, and in the pandemic, maybe you're not feeling as creative. Definitely
in the pandemic. It's not about no longer pursuing during that, but I made a LinkedIn. I was like, I got to find some fucking real work.
Right.
Like, I don't know what I'm going to, I got to keep.
a question of like whether or not I can or I'm going to be allowed to.
Right.
Right. No, just in general, I think I have more of like a long game, like, I don't know if I'm going to be wanting to be a rapping and the Palmer Squares are going to be doing shows when we're 50. Right. So it's like at some point, I feel like there will be like a decrescendo. There will be like a wind down.
Nice word.
Or something. But like, I'm not focusing on that. I want us to keep fucking making stuff. And it's like,
it's more like if it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
Right. But there's also this thing of like, look, it's not glamorous. I don't want to be out playing shows like that are poorly attended and I'm getting sick and whatever, and I'm in my we really got to be doing it even better than we're doing it now, 10 years from now, for us to be looking at 10 more. It's like, we're not getting any younger. So there's just that thing. And it's not about like stopping making music. We'll probably both always make some sort of music in
Right.
some capacity, even into our 50s and stuff.
Right.
It might not be Palmer Squares.
Maybe
It might not
do
sound like this
shows
if
or
it is.
something, but
Right. But, you know, like Term's a big country fan. I could
Right.
imagine him fucking playing, you know, on a stool with a guitar.
Root, doot, doot, deedly, deedly,
In the
deedly,
future,
deedly,
you know?
The highly